You have reached Wrestling's Alternative Review. I'm your man, Steele, and today I have a very special review that I'm reviewing for Transformers Legacy Evolution, Beachcomber. Transformers Legacy Evolution Beachcomber. But before I get into the actual review, I just want to go over some of the spectacular details on this packaging. Up front here, Tipple's going to show you what to figure, and all those accessories inside. On top of the packaging here, you have a QR code, and once you scan this QR code, it takes you to a website where you can see Beachcomber's tech spec. Now for the packaging here, top corner here you have an 8+, which is an 8 requirement for this figure. Near the corner here you have the Car Tommy logo. Below that you have the Transformers Generations logo, and down here it says Transformers. Middle here, you have this beautiful illustration of Beachcomber in his Dune Buggy mode, and next to that it says Beachcomber and Paradise Parakeet. Down here you have the Transformers Legacy Evolution logo, and below that it says it is a deluxe class figure. In the corner here you have the Hasbro emblem. Down the side of the packaging here, you have two more beautiful profile shots of Beachcomber, this time in his robot mode. The other side of the packaging here, you have this awesome montage of some of the Transformers in Transformers Legacy Evolution, starting with Optimus Prime. Below that you have Tarn. Up here you have Breakdown. Below that you have Leo Prime. Over here you have Needle Nose and Crosscut. Then down at the bottom here you have the Dinobots and the Junkyards. Over here you have the Transformers Authentic logo, and below that again you have the Transformers Legacy Evolution logo. Then back of the packaging here, on the very top it says Transformers More Than Meets the Eye. Then over here you have Beachcomber and Paradise Parakeet. Middle here you have all the figures features such as Beachcomber's robot mode, Beachcomber's Dune Buggy mode. Over here it says it takes 11 steps to get there. Then over here you have a picture of Beachcomber with his Evo Fusion mode, and down here you have the Hasbro emblem. Transformers Legacy Evolution Beachcomber and Paradise Parakeet. Beachcomber was released June 24th, 2023 with the suggested retail price of $27.99, and he's available at select retailers. Beachcomber was released along with the other Transformers Legacy Evolution Deluxe Class Wave 3 figures, Axle Grease, Devcom, and Tarantulas. Beachcomber is a Generation 1 inspired figure that converts to his Dune Buggy mode in 11 steps. His accessories include his blaster, Paradise Parakeet, and instructions. Beachcomber stands 5 inches tall, and he is meant for fans ages 8 and up. Now I'm going to go ahead and convert Beachcomber from his robot mode all the way to his Dune Buggy mode. But the first thing you always want to do before you transform any of your Transformers, you want to remove all the weapons and accessories. So I'm going to take his blaster here. I'm going to put this off to the side. The first step of the transformation, you want to flip Beachcomber all the way around. On Beachcomber's heels, he has these pieces right there and right there. He has a hinge on it right there and right there. With these heel pieces, you want to flip them all the way down just like that. Do that here, like that heel piece, and flip it all the way down just like that. So step number 2, on back of Beachcomber's legs, you have a blue panel right there and right there. You have a hinge on it right there and right there. With these blue panels, and flip them all the way open just like that. Do that here, like that blue panel, and flip it all the way open just like that. Then step number 3, on Beachcomber's back, you have this bar right here. You have a hinge on it right there and right there. You want to take this bar and you want to flip it out just like that. So step number 4, you have Beachcomber's legs, and between his legs he has various tabs and portholes. You want to go line up these tabs and portholes, you want to tab them together just like that. But at the same time, you have this bar right here. You have a tab porthole right there, you want to make sure those kind of tab into place just like that, so everything stays nice and secure. So step number 5, you have Beachcomber's top piece right here. When you take the top piece, you want to slide it up just like that. So step number 6, you have Beachcomber's legs right here. You have the hinge nut right there and right there. You want to take the leg piece and flip it right over the thigh piece. And it's very much like the old school transformations that a lot of Transformers went through, where you just flip the piece over the leg. Pretty much this is the same thing. You just flip Beachcomber's leg over the thigh, just like that. In step number 7, you have this bar right here. You want to take this bar now, you want to flip it up slightly, just like that. Then step number 8, you have these pieces right there and right there, and they look like Beachcomber's seats now. You want to take these seats now, and you want to tap them right into the body, just like that, and just like that. Then step number 9, you have this other crossbar right here. You have a tab right there and right there, and the other crossbar, you have a porthole right there and right there. You want to take this crossbar, you want to make sure everything lines up. You want to tap it together, just like that. And again, you want to make sure everything kind of stays tabbed together, just like that. Then step number 10, you have Beachcomber's arms right there and right there. At the end of the arms, you have a tab right there and right there. On the inside of the car right here, you have a porthole right there and right there. You want to make sure this piece tabs right into place, just like that. To that, that piece tab into place, just like that. And at the same time, on the inside of the bicep here, you have a little tab right there and a porthole. You want to go and push that right into place on both sides, so everything's nice and secure. Because in the 11th and final step, you want to flip Beachcomber over. You have those blue panels you opened up earlier on. All you want to do now is kind of take those panels and close them up just like that. And just like that. And now you have Beachcomber in his full dune buggy mode. Now that Beachcomber in his dune buggy mode and on my display table, so I'm going to go over some of his plate features and accessories. First by talking about the Paradise Parakeet. Very small accessory, and hopefully my camera could zoom in on the details here. Very nice accessory, but you're probably wondering, why does Beachcomber come with a parakeet? Well, Beachcomber was featured in a Generation 1 Season 2 episode called Golden Lagoon. He was heavily featured in that episode, and that episode was very environmentally conscious. And what the episode entailed was, the Decepticons discovered a golden pool of electron. And the golden pool of electron, once the Transformers dipped themselves into this pool, it made them temporarily invincible. So what happened was the Autobots also discovered this lagoon, they dipped themselves in it, and they would go ahead and blast each other, and what the golden lagoon energon would do was it'd make them invincible and deflect the shots, so the shots would destroy the environment. And Beachcomber was very environmentally conscious. He really loved the environment and he wanted to protect it. He befriended a lot of the animals when he discovered this paradise. And the parakeet happened to be one of the animals he befriended. It was a really, really nice episode. That's probably one of the best Season 2 episodes that they came out with. It was very, very well written, and it carried a very strong story. But also, according to the instructions, there's a way to arm Beachcomber with the Paradise Parakeet while he's in his dune buggy mode. You do that because on the bottom of the parrot here, you have a 5mm peg. You have a couple of portholes in the back here, 4 or 5mm portholes. You want to take the parakeet here, you want to plug in either one of these portholes, just like that. And now you have Beachcomber with his little buddy on the back of his dune buggy. It's really, really cute. It's a really, really nice accessory, and I'm sure it's going to become a very valuable accessory. It is molded out of like a rubbery plastic. It's not your typical plastic, so it's very flexible. And I'm not going to bend it too much because I don't want to tear this little peg from the parakeet, but it's a very nice accessory. Very easy to lose because if you decide to store this parakeet back in its original container, Transformers Legacy Evolution had the windowless box, so I'd go ahead and probably put it in a plastic baggie, or make sure that it's in something where it's not gonna fall out of the box. I want to go and put that right back in the back wheel, just like that. The next accessory I want to go and bring in is his blaster. This blaster is very nicely detailed. I don't really recall Beachcomber's blaster from the Generation 1 cartoon series, because they kind of had generic weaponry for a lot of the mini-bots, because the original mini-bot toys did not include accessories. But in order to arm Beachcomber with this blaster while he's in his dune buggy mode, between the handle here and this piece right here, the stock, this little clip right here, you can't really see it. They engineered it really well, so it's kind of obscure. What they want to do is take the roll bar here, I'm going to clip that rifle onto the top of the roll bar, just like that. And it has some angle because it's kind of a tight grip on there, so you can move it around. But now you have Beachcomber armed with this blaster and his Paradise Parakeet while he's in his dune buggy mode. Very, very nice. And there's also an option to store this weapon while Beachcomber is in his vehicle mode. And you do that because on the other side of the blaster here, you have a peg. And on top of that, you have 2 portholes up here. In front of this car here, you have a porthole and 2 little tabs right there. You want to go ahead and take that piece and plug everything so it lines up, so the 2 tabs go into the 2 portholes on the bottom here, and that peg goes right into that porthole. And now you have Beachcomber with his blaster stored while he's in his dune buggy mode. And we lost the parakeet in the process. I'm going to go put him off to the side. But I'm not a big fan of storing my weapons on my Transformers while they're in their alt mode. And the alt mode is anything that is not the alt mode. So this is a vehicle mode, an animal mode, in this case a dune buggy mode. So I'm going to take this blaster, I'm going to put it off to the side. So I'm going to go and talk about Beachcomber in his dune buggy mode. And I just want to say the dune buggy mode to me kind of falls flat. I know being based on the original source material, the original dune buggy wasn't that great to start off with. And I believe that this version of Beachcomber is based more on the animated model from the Generation cartoon series, and with a lot of the details from the cartoon series, they kind of make it very basic, so it's very easy to animate. And I don't really recall Beachcomber looking too much like this, because I think it was closer to the original design of the toy, which I do have on hand. Do a side-by-side comparison. And as you can see, with the Generations toy line, which incorporates, you know, the War for Cybertron, Legacy, Age of the Prime, Studio Series, and anything that comes out from Hasbro Pulse, like any Generations figures, they kind of kept the scaling consistent, where the weaponry is all 5mm pegs. Well, they had to scale Beachcomber up, because Beachcomber was a mini-bot, which is a smaller classification of Transformers back in the day. So what they did, they scaled him up, and they made all the mini-bots a little bit bigger. Because now there's no more core class figures. And the last of the core class figures, I believe, was probably Steelejaw, which I did miss out on Steelejaw because I did not see him in any brick and mortar stores. But once I get him, I will have my review of him. But the core class were the smallest. Even with Wheelie, who was released in the Studio Series core class classification, he's being brought in as one of the deluxe figures now too, so he's going to be scaled up too. But I do like the fact that they did scale up the mini-bots, because now they're more consistent to the scaling of the animated series, which is really, really cool, and Transformers the movie. But when you compare the two side by side, you kind of see a lot of design elements did carry through. Like you get the roll bar did carry through. You get the little spotlights in the front here. And what's very, very nice about this version of Beachcomber, and actually Beachcomber in general, is the wheels feel like they're molded out like a rubbery plastic, where the bolt here that's holding the wheel down is got that metallic, or it's actually metal, but they did a good job painting the hubcap here like a metallic silver. It kind of matches with this metallic little bolt holding the wheel down, so it does look like it's a wheel. Unfortunately, sometimes I get all four wheels to roll at once, but I wouldn't advise doing that because the body here hangs very low to the surface. And if you're rolling this figure across any abrasive surfaces, you do risk causing some mold damage to the bottom of the figure, which I would not like, because Beachcomber did not see the light of day in brick and mortar store. I actually got this as a reissue. I ordered this directly from Hasbro Pulse. So this is actually the reissue, because for some reason that wave did not make it to stores. I mean, also with DevCon, I got DevCon at Target, and he was part of this wave. But very, very nice. Now I'm going to rotate them around so you can see the similarities and differences between both the original Beachcomber and the Transformers Legacy Evolution version of Beachcomber. Very, very nicely done. I don't know though, because I can't say that the Dune Buggy mode for this version of Beachcomber is my definitive one, because it's kind of a toss-up between that and Titans Returns. They did a great job with Titans Returns. The only thing with Titans Returns is it's not very cartoon accurate. You know, they didn't really use the anime model from the Generation cartoon series as their inspiration for designing his figure. They pretty much just made it more modern, where this is what he would look like if the arc was the crash land on Earth in the early 2000s. This is what Beachcomber may have looked at like once Teletran went out and scanned a few dune buggies, a few vehicles on Earth, because this was more based on an older design vehicle. I don't think this was designed not after any specific vehicle in mind, but just general dune buggy. And so that's why a lot of the design elements did carry over from the Generation 1 cartoon series and the toy, as this was just based on what a more modern dune buggy would look like. But three figures are great. I mean, I love, of course, Generation 1 I grew up with, and I love this figure. Love that it has the rubber tires, which have kind of cracked a little bit over time, because as you can see the aging process, and this figure's almost 40 years old. You also have the symbol right here, the Autobot insignia, where it was heat sensitive, and I'm not sure if it still works or not, which it does not. And this figure here is pretty much my definitive Beachcomber. I mean, I do like the Titans Return design better, but this is more faithful to the anime model from the Generation 1 cartoon series and the Generation 1 toy. This one right here is probably the best Dune Buggy, but like I said, it's just because it's more modernized and it's got kind of a sleeker, nicer look to it. The transformation is very nice because this transformation here is very basic, as you saw earlier on. But I would have to say, God, I'm going to put the Generation 1 off to the side, but I can't really say which Beachcomber I like in the Dune Buggy mode more. But I'm going to rotate them around so you can decide on your own. I think they're both great figures, but if you're a G1 purist, you'd have to go with the Transformers Legacy Evolution version of Beachcomber, but a lot of fans did not get their hands on that figure because, like I mentioned earlier on, he did not make it to stores, and he is available online still. So if you do want to get a Beachcomber, I'd hurry up and snatch him right now. I'm not sure if he's going to hit shelves like DevCon did or Runabout, but hopefully maybe in the future. I wouldn't really rule anything out at this point in time. As of right now, a lot of figures that were very hard to find back in the day are being reissued. Now that Beachcomber in his robot mode and on my display table, I once again want to go over some of his play features and accessories. First by talking about the Paradise Parakeet again. And this accessory is just so cute, and I'm so happy they included this parakeet with Beachcomber because this parakeet was featured in that Season 2 episode Golden Lagoon, which was a very, very cool episode because it featured Beachcomber. And a lot of times they'll make an episode that is based on a certain Transformer or features a certain Transformer, and Golden Lagoon was Beachcomber's episode. It's really cool because you really got to know Beachcomber. And Beachcomber kind of had that Elvis Presley swag to him where he was really, really cool, but at the same time he was like an environmental hippie, which was really nice. And I believe his role is geologist, so he did study the environment, but he took it very personal with the destruction, and that episode brought a tear to my eyes because that battle did bring a lot of destruction to that paradise, and at the end of the episode, you really felt sad for Beachcomber because he was generally crushed that bringing that Golden Lagoon to everyone's attention caused so much pain and suffering for these animals that lived in the area, and the parakeet happened to be one of them. But in order to arm this parakeet on Beachcomber, on the bottom of the parakeet you have a 5mm peg. Inside that peg you have a little porthole. On the shoulders here you have little pegs right there and right there. You want to take a little Paradise Parakeet and plug it right in their shoulder, just like that, and now you have Beachcomber armed with the Paradise Parakeet while he's in his robot mode. Very nice accessory. And if you haven't seen that episode yet, I'd go right on to YouTube and check out that episode because that episode is probably one of the best Season 2 episodes that came out. But the next accessory I want to go ahead and bring in is Beachcomber's blaster. And also according to the instructions, we're going to arm Beachcomber with this blaster while he's in his robot mode. That's because the handle of the blaster here is actually a 5mm peg. Each one of his fists is a 5mm porthole. You take that blaster and plug in either one of his fists just like that, and now you have Beachcomber armed with both the Paradise Parakeet and his blaster while he's in his robot mode. And Beachcomber in his robot mode is fantastic. I know I was kind of on the ropes about the vehicle mode between the Titans Returns and the Transformers Legacy Evolution version of Beachcomber, but I have to give that version of Beachcomber to the Evolution one because it's more closely based on the anime model from the Generation cartoon series. And Titans Return is nice, but it's kind of like more of a modern take on what Beachcomber would look like if you got reformatted in the 2000s. Well, this Beachcomber is very faithful to the anime model in both modes, and he is fantastic. I mean, if I bring out the other two versions of Beachcomber, you got the Titans Return right here, you got the Generation 1 right here. And you see a lot of design elements did carry through to all figures. And if you want to do it in order of release, you got it right here. And as I mentioned earlier on, they had to scale up Beachcomber to a deluxe class because a lot of the mini-bots, even in the cartoon series, weren't that small, and the scaling for Generation 1 was awful. And I know I'm a Generation 1 purist, but I mean, the mini-bots were tiny, so you'd have to almost make all the mini-bots in the core class format, which they did away with. And I think the last of the core class were the cassettes, and anything small that they may release, maybe some human characters, but you will not see core class being released anymore in any of the Transformers series. So deluxe is pretty much the smallest you're going to get now. But Beachcomber was probably going to be what was considered nowadays a core class figure, And I'm glad they scaled them up, because now you could make the weapons more consistent, where all the fists for all the figures in the Generations toy line, which I mentioned earlier on, incorporates a lot of different toy lines now. And it even kind of expands into Titans Returns. But I think they did a reboot with the Titans Returns figures, because now you're seeing a lot of the Titans Returns figures that were modernized to have that more G1 look to them being redone in the Generations toy line now, with War for Cybertron, Legacy, the Age of the Primes, or whatever that series is going to be called, Studio Series, anything from HasLab or from Hasbro Pulse. But all those figures now, the Generations toy line, it's pretty much going to be consistent now, which is great. And they're staying more in lines with the anime model from whatever respective series they're from, or if they want to specifically make it based on a toy design, which they did with Optimus Prime, where they kind of made that missing link type Optimus Prime, they'll do that. So maybe down the road they'll make a scaled up version of Beachcomber where he looks more like his G1 toy, which I'll be really behind also. But there's so many different routes that Hasbro and Takara can take nowadays, because us collectors, we're hungry, and we're finally happy to get an animated, like an animation correct or loyal version of Beachcomber. But I'm going to go rotate this around so you can see what all three figures look like side by side. You can see all the differences and all the similarities on your own, because the transformations aren't too far-fetched. I mean, Beachcomber is very basically flip the head in, push the arms in, flip the legs, right? The Titans Returns adds a little bit of engineering to it, where yes, transformation's almost identical, but there was a little bit, more flipping and panels here and there where it made him look more cartoon accurate. Well, with this version of Beachcomber, the engineering is solid, where, I mean, you can barely tell. You look in the back here, you got that crossbar here, but other than that, you don't have any hollow pieces right here. I mean, they did a great job with Beachcomber. This is a fantastic figure. I want to take these other two Beachcombers, put them off to the side. Now I want to talk about Beachcombers. I mean, that Paradise Parakeet, that's a big selling point for me. That's such a cute accessory. But he has lots of points of articulation. He has a knee articulation, his thigh articulation, hip articulation, he has waist articulation, elbow. I don't believe he has fist. He may have. Yeah, his fist move, shoulders move up and down all the way around. You got bicep swivel, and you get that ball socket there for the head. I mean, this figure is fantastic. I mean, who'd ever thought, and I'm going to go ahead and bring him back in here, that 40 years and all these, the trials and tribulation between the engineering and designing of the figure, you would get a cartoon accurate version of Beachcomber. It just blows my mind how great these figures look nowadays. And never would I've ever imagined, because back in the day as kids we had to use our imagination to kind of make that match there. We saw Beachcomber on screen. I mean, this Beachcomber kind of looks like what he did in the cartoon series, but not quite. We used our imagination. But for them to be able to engineer a figure that's near cartoon perfection is just fantastic. But if you guys found any of the information in this review valuable, please like and share this video. Also, if you really enjoy my content, please subscribe to my channel. And while you're there, click the bell to be notified of any future videos. I want to thank you guys for watching Red Steele's Toy Collector Review. I'll definitely check you guys out next time.